What's up, Red Wings fans? Welcome to another edition of the Forecheck, live from Little Caesars Arena. I'm Daniella Bruce, joined by Ken, Kal, and guys. Today's show, as always, is presented by Athletico Physical Therapy. Ken, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, getting ready for this game against the Minnesota Wild, and it should be a good one tonight.
It will be. It's been a busy week here at Little Caesars Arena. We had the Devils in town on Tuesday night. The Red Wings dropped that one 4-1, but you got to kind of talk about the physical play in that game, right, Ken? It was a bit chippy there.
Especially at the end there when everybody was getting into it. Man, there were gloves being thrown at players and, the fans were into it. And kind of reminded me, Daniella, of the old days in the Norris division back when, they had all the tough battles in there. But, it all started with a big hit. And then Hayden comes in and gives that hit to Bertuzzi. Next thing you know, they get into it. Subban's in the middle of it. Bowie's in there. And, Jack Hughes got hit a couple of times in that game. And then you've got, Subban trying to challenge Bertuzzi. So it was some pretty good stuff towards the end of the game.
And the league did end up getting involved in that hit, that Hayden late on Bertuzzi. He did get fined for that one. But you see Bertuzzi kind of coming back here. The chippiness lasted until those two guys walked right off the bench. But Tyler Bertuzzi kind of just said, hey, it's part of the game. You're trying to protect him after that hit on Fabs. Obviously, we're going to try and get him back for that. Things just solve themselves. And he says he doesn't really care, honestly. It's part of the game. Whether it was dirty or not, he was sticking up for his teammate. He's talking about Hayden there. And he says he would have probably done the same thing, which we know Tyler Bertuzzi is a real tough player out there.
Back in the day, people had long memories, and they wouldn't react right away. They'd wait maybe a season or two sometimes that long, but they would never forget. And, back in the day, they'd have the bench clearing brawls, and something like this would have really, really extended a long period of time. But now that it's over, it's over. Now the Red Wings can move forward. The Devils can move forward. Devils are playing some pretty good hockey right now. But I think for the fans who were left at the end of the game, they were really excited about it, and it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining ending to the game. Well, the only thing that could have been better is if the Red Wings would have won. But it was pretty entertaining other than that. As Ken said earlier, we've got the Wild in town tonight. Carly Johnston was at morning skate.
Thanks, Daniella. Looking forward to the game tonight as the Red Wings play host to the Minnesota Wild in Sam Gagne's first game with a winged wheel on his sweater. Fun fact, Gagne is the first Red Wing to wear number 89 in the regular season. Also in the lineup tonight, Filip Hronek back from an injury. Unfortunately, Robbie Fabry and Gus Lindstrom are not back in the lineup, so they called up Dennis Cholowski from the Grand Rapids Griffins.
I feel like I've had I felt really good this year. Felt like I played well. I'm excited to get some power play time and show what I'm capable of there. And, I feel like I've been through this process before with some other teams, and, I can kind of fill a leadership role and help the guys kind of get through it. And, that's what I'm hopefully here to do.
What are you hoping to accomplish with the Red Wings in the rest of the season here?
Just play my hardest every single night, help them win games any way I can. Just playing strong D and just being a fresh face and new energy in the dressing room. I think, that helps during a season like this. And, it's just an opportunity to meet new guys and showcase.
You can have success. A few new parts on the power play with Sam Gagne in town. We talked about Dennis being out there. How tough will it be for guys to adjust, do you think? Or how much time we think for guys to get accustomed to any new roles they might have?
We got a chance yesterday on the one unit that will probably go with to practice it a little bit. So Sam's been a really, really good bumper player throughout his career. If you go back a couple years to Columbus, he had really good numbers, and the power play was really good, and he was a big factor in it. I think he can add some dimensions that we haven't had here. Certainly the right shot gives us way more options, so I think that's a real positive. How quickly, it's hard to say, and you got to get some power plays to have the opportunity to showcase it. But I feel good about the addition of him for sure, and then obviously bringing Cholo back. Chili's got a real good ability to have an impact on the power play. Can walk the line good, and if he can play with that swagger that we've talked about, then he's shown himself to be a real good power play at times.
The Wild are in that playoff push, so they're playing with some desperation. So the Red Wings need to come out and play a full 60 minutes of hockey and get some shots on net. Back to you, Daniella.
Ken, we've got Cody Goluboff, who played one game, then Tuesday against the Devils was his first game, and now Sam Gagne making his Red Wings debut tonight. And you heard Coach Blashill kind of talking about how he's excited to see him on the power play.
Yeah, and he should help out. And the thing about Sam Gagne is he's a really talented hockey player. He's 30 years old right now, but he's got some pretty good numbers in the league, 458 career points. And keep in mind, he had an 8-point game against the Chicago Blackhawks a few years ago, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how do you do that?
4 goals, 4 assists. He factored in all 8 goals for his team, so he had a really good night. Sam Gagne is the kind of guy, though, that can really help. He still has some skill left in him and some gas in the tank, and I'm sure he's going to help on the power play and on a regular shift as well. And hey, Cody Golubov, he's a guy that's not going to be flashy out there on the ice. He does all the little things that you need to do back there on the blue line, and I thought he played pretty well. 14 minutes, 40 seconds of ice time. I think he had 1 shot on goal, but overall didn't look, like it was his first Red Wing game. I thought he did pretty good.
And keeping it on the blue line, Ken, let's talk about Dennis Cholowski getting the call up from Grand Rapids, and he's kind of been up and down all season. The Red Wings have had some struggles on the blue line, especially when it comes to injury. What do you think it is about Dennis Cholowski that ultimately got him the call up this time?
Well, he's an offensive player, and the Red Wings haven't been scoring a lot of goals lately. I think the Wings have scored just 1 goal in 5 of their last 7 games, so they need some instant offense, both at even strength and also on the power play. And that's what Dennis Cholowski provides. He's got a good shot, good offensive numbers. The only thing about Dennis is his overall defensive game, and that's something that he's been working hard on in Grand Rapids.
Definitely. And we mentioned, we're staying on the blue line again, we've got Filip Hronek back in the lineup. He missed a few games with a head injury. And hey, we're lucky it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So he was just out for a few games. But you miss his presence. You can kind of tell on the blue line, especially now that Mike Green was traded. So we really needed him back, and he's also offensively really good for the Red Wings.
A real minute muncher out there on the ice, and for a time there he was averaging 24, 25 minutes a game, and you and I were talking about who's going to pick up his minutes in his absence, and right now he's back in the lineup, so that's going to help the Red Wings. Highly competitive. Red Wings leading scorer there on the blue line, and it's been a while since he scored a goal, but he's got that offensive ability, and that's what the Red Wings need. They need to score some goals.
So you see the numbers for both Filip Hronek and Dennis Cholowski there. And like we said, you got to generate some offense, and both of these guys can help in doing that.
They can, and I think the game plan, Daniela, is to try and get to the middle of the ice now more. And the Red Wings have been forced to the outside, and in order to score in this league, you got to get to the middle of the ice and cause some havoc, make the other goaltender work a little bit, and that's something that the Red Wings haven't been able to do. So look tonight, if you're watching the game or listening on the radio, the description of where the Red Wings are on the ice, because they need to get in the middle.
All right, Ken, let's talk a little bit about the team that we're going to have here at Little Caesars Arena tonight, the Minnesota Wild. I think the best story that I got out of their Tuesday night game was Mikko Koivu. I know he played in his 1,000th game earlier this season, but he had been struggling, gone 30 games without a goal. And here he goes getting 2 on Tuesday night.
He's an outstanding player. He's been in the league for a long time, and he's had his struggles, his ups and downs, and certainly he had a down right there. But now he's scoring, and that's not a good sign for the Red Wings, right, I guess. But the thing about him is he celebrated his 1,000th career game earlier in the season. He has over 200 career goals, and he is one of the leaders offensively, Mikko Koivu, for the Minnesota Wild.
And just a fun little note, they've got somebody in their lineup tonight. It's Mayhew. He's playing with the Wild. He was called up from their AHL team, and he's actually from Wyandotte, Michigan, and played at Ferris State. There he is, Gerald Mayhew.
So we're kind of secretly pulling for him tonight. He's an older player. He's 27 years old, and his numbers aren't bad. He's got 2 goals in 8 games played, so that's not bad. So good for Gerald Mayhew, and I know people in Wyandotte are all happy about him, and so are the people in Big Rapids.
Yeah, look at that, his Ferris State jersey. That's always cool to see local guys making it big in the NHL, right?
And Jeff Blashill played at Ferris State, so he's kind of maybe pulling for him a little bit too.
Definitely. Now let's take a look at the Western Conference playoff picture before we close this one out. Minnesota is very much still in that picture. They're only 3 points back from a wild card spot. So any points they can pick up tonight would be huge for them.
And that's the problem with the Red Wings right now, is the fact that they're playing these teams that are in a playoff race, and every point means something. Montreal was in here last week, and they needed points. Red Wings beat them. But tonight, Minnesota, it's been kind of an up and down season for them, but they're hanging in there. And they made a coaching change on Valentine's Day, got a new head coach back behind the bench, and they seem to be playing pretty well, Daniela. Their record's 7-3-3 in their last 13 games, so they're playing pretty good hockey right now.
Definitely. They're having a bit of success down this stretch. Ken, how are the Red Wings going to stop that tonight?
Well, again, you have to be heavy in front of the net, and both teams play that way. The Minnesota Wild, you'll see them in front of the net, and the Red Wings, I think the key is you got to win that battle. ball, and you got to cause some chaos, get second and third efforts, and the team that can be willing to do that is, I think, going to win the hockey game, but I think that's the game plan for the Red Wings tonight.
All right, Ken, I've got something really cool for you to check out. You guys hear that?
You got that thing set for 4:10 in the morning. I don't get up that early.
I was ready for it, Ken. I was ready for it. This is our giveaway tonight, everybody. If you get down here early enough, you're going to go home with one of these Hockey Town alarm clocks. Really effective. That would wake you up, right?
That definitely would. But I wouldn't get up at 4:10 in the morning.
No, is that what I have it set for? I'm sorry. I'll set it a little later for you. Guys, if you're not going to be down here tonight, catch the game on Fox Sports Detroit or tune in to 97.1 The Ticket. Listen to your very own Ken Kal. I'll give him this so you might hear this in the background. We'll see you next time, everybody.
I love it.